I started my journey here at La Casa in 1990. So when I first came here, there was about 100 cottages here. So and none of the cottages were as these are. They were all called coral sides. So the coral sides were 36 feet long, where these are 42. They were all aluminum siding. They had basically a bedroom on the front end of the cottage and a kitchen and bath in the middle and a bedroom on the back side of the cottage. So they were originally designed for college students to share. There would be a college student in the front and one in the back, and then there would also be a shared bathroom and kitchen space. So that's originally how they were designed, and so, as I said, 1990 I started here, and it's been many changes. So the trees were much smaller. I had to be careful not to run over them with the lawnmower. So that tells you how small those trees that are so large now were. The grass was beautiful. We had no sprinklers, but the grass was beautiful because the oak trees were small and it got plenty of sunlight. I've seen a lot of people come and go in that time.
Well, I hate it when they come and say they're leaving. That's really tough. One year, several left, and that was really tough, but most of them keep in touch, which is nice. There's email, and Benny doesn't do Facebook, but every now and then I'll watch somebody on there and kind of keep up with them a little bit. If they do leave, there's usually only one reason they do leave, and that's health related. We have a great group of people. We care about each other. Do you ever see a taxi in here? No. I don't think too many communities can say that. We all help each other out. And there's always food lists. Somebody's sick, someone's bringing someone food. Someone's bringing somebody to their doctor's appointments, whatever it is. We just care about each other here. And
so I can tell you a little bit about how we actually came about having La Casa. The owner that built this park's name was Tony Kopp. And so he had a joint venture with Disney World putting these cottages into Fort Wilderness. So the plan was, when they started that venture, that every 6 years they would pull them out and put new ones in. So when that first 6-year period ended, he had to have a place for all of those to go. So he bought this property and began putting them in here. So that's how we ended up with La Casa. And there is no other place like La Casa in Florida. There is no other place. So
we've had other people call and say, we can't get in here. Where is there another place just like this? And I said, well, other people have told us, they've done their research and said there is no other place like this. We have looked and looked. We heard there was a place like this in Plant City, and we drove out there and it was nothing like this. So we know we're special.
Definitely.
I really do think it's Benny keeping up the place. He's doing such a good job at that. And then I think it's the combination. It's just got to be the combination of everything working together. And then I think Benny will agree with me. God is blessing our park, our village.
Absolutely. So, and there's also no other place around that has the trees like we do. The guy, Tony Kopp, that built this park, he wanted it to look like natural Florida. And it does. It does. It has the natural trees from Florida here. So palm trees are actually not native trees for Florida. So that's why we don't have palm trees everywhere. We have the oak trees and just other trees that are native to Florida. And unfortunately, those trees kind of shade out the grass, but then that also looks like natural Florida. So it is exactly the way he planned it to be. And also, there's no other place where it's all rentals. This is all rentals, and everybody just seems to get along so good. We have a lot of activities. You know, we have so much fun. Everybody here just seems to have so much fun.
Just in case you have, I can go change it. Not got nothing? Is she here?
And so we just enjoyed being a part of that. So always have. That's the way it's always been here.
And there's not too many places where most of the staff lives on site, you know.
Right.
So we have a combined interest to make sure. I mean, we care, you know. We live here too.
We retired in 1989, and on December 15th of 89, we found La Casa and started our first lease that was going to be for 15 months because we didn't want it to end. And that was the first time they were only going to rent. But we got one, and we're still have a lease after all these years and have loved it. We moved from a coral to a, when they moved in the Woodsides. I'm the only one that's ever been in mine, so I feel it's my house. It has, I've had wonderful neighbors no matter where we were. And the people who've been here are super. We're all the same boat. We've all newly retired. And it's been a joy. That's the only way I can describe it. We're just handy to everything here. Everything has joined us on Highway 27. And we can get any place, and that's about it.
Marley was in the office at the time, showed us one of those small ones, what they're called?
Coral side.
Coral sides, and unit 190. And we decided on that, and we came then after he retired in May, and in September we came down for the first time in 1998. And liked it a lot. Didn't have a patio, so we had that put in, and the air condition put in. I was getting company from out of country, and I said it was 90 degrees every day in the summer. I said, I can't have that, they'll melt on me. So we got the air conditioner first, and then in the fall we decided to put in the air conditioning stuff. And then a few years, I don't even know what year, the year that Carol came, we moved over to La Quinta. And love it, enjoy it, and almost very sad that almost didn't make it this year, but I'm glad we did.
Well, drive around with a bike and walk around and, you know,
Enjoy the warm weather.
enjoy the warm weather, but now it's not that warm.
We first arrived in February of 1998. We came down Highway 27 from the Florida Turnpike to La Casa. At that time, 27 was a single lane road, both north and south, most of the distance. At that time, both east and west of 27, there were citrus groves, a few cattle ranches, and not many subdivisions. Also, we encountered only 6 stoplights at the intersections that entire distance of about 35 miles. The last time we came down, which was 5 years ago when we drove, there were 33 signal lights, and virtually all of the citrus groves and cattle ranchers were gone and replaced by either residential subdivisions, shopping centers, or strip malls. So over the years, we have really enjoyed our time here.
When we first came down, Walmart's was a small store on the west side of 27. The aisles were very narrow and very high stacked up. We believe the purchases we made it possible to move a nice big Walmart store across the street in 2007, and they still like to see us coming.
My name is John Groves.
And I'm Jan Groves.
We came here to La Casa in 1998.
I had a girlfriend that lived here, and I said, oh, we'll try it. I will never, ever be in Central Florida in a manufactured home. And here I am, 24 years later,
And it was the people that made us decide to stay here.
Yes.
We have made so many friends over the years. When we first came here, there were no medical centers across the street. It was all orange groves. The hospital was only 2 stories, and the road was only 2 lanes in each direction, and there was hardly anybody here. Walmart was in that Harbor Freight, which was across the street. That's the big changes that have come up.
And traffic.
And traffic. The traffic here now is pretty heavy.
Yes.
And just getting on 4 is really a bear.
Yes.
But as far as the place itself, it is absolutely beautiful. The people here are still the greatest people that I know. And I think it's because we're all away from home and we're here to have fun and to meet people.
We're each other's family when we're away. Take
Exactly.
care of each other, which
And
is
we
a
do.
nice, important thing for all.
Yes.
Yes.
We worked with Jan and Rudy Primo for about 12 years, going on all the committees, and we had a wonderful time. And we worked at the Give Kids the World and here, and anytime Rudy needed a hand, hey, John and Jan, would you please come and give us a hand? Okay,
Yes.
we always volunteered.
Yes. And volunteering makes you meet new friends and new people, which is people you wouldn't normally do, and you become great friends with these people over the years.
But we have had flocks of people that we knew and hung with leave in mass. And then the next year,
Is that us?
then we come back, I says, gee, did I have underarm deodorant or something?
Yes.
And I says, okay, what are we gonna do this year? Before we even get started, we've made a whole bunch of new friends.
Yes. Yes, we are blessed. When they say when God closes one door, he always opens another door, which is very true with us here. Yes. And we hope as long as we're able, we can still come to La Casa.
Yeah, because we're in our 80s and it's
Yes.
getting up there.
Yes, we don't come as long as we used to, but we still come for the wintry months, which we're glad because it's very cold now up north.
Yeah.
Yes,
We used to come down in October.
yes.
And,
That's when we were younger.
yes. And we were known as Grandma and Grandpa Mickey to our grandkids for years and years and years because we had passes to Disney World, and we would just, hey, let's go there for supper or let's go see a show.
Yeah.
And that's what the pass was, you were able to do.
No.
Not anymore.
Those days are gone, that's for sure.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know, I think that's about it for now.
Tell us your name.
Robert Urbanski. Handsome Bob.
And how long have you been coming to La Casa del Sol?
It's pretty sure it's 29 years.
And was it a lot different here when you first came than it is now?
Well, I guess it's different because of our age. We were with people who are almost all gone, and the people now are just much younger than we are. Yes, very different. They dance differently. They sort of act differently, I guess.
Are you still involved in some activities even at your age now? What do you like to do here?
I like bingo.
Yeah, we do everything.
Yeah, anything that's going on.
We do everything that can be done. We're fortunate that we can do as much as we
One thing
do.
I miss is celebrating the March birthdays. Most of the people are gone, and Bob and I, March 7th and 8th, and we always had a party at our house. I still have the signs that Vicky made, but everybody's either gone or busy, and so the party is a memory.
But you're still here.
I know, but I can't get them all together, you know. So I'm going to try this year, though, again.
We got rid of old tables. We had enough.
Well, we can have that. That's no problem.
Yeah.
But that's one thing you have always enjoyed doing.
Yeah, Well, there were a lot of March people here, and so we just had it on our front porch.
Did you always live in the same cottage where you are now?
And it's never been changed inside except by us.
And how much longer do you expect to be coming here?
Till we die.
The Lord knows.
We're Larry and Vicki Winslow from Michigan. We've been residents at La Casa del Sol for 30 years.
See?
We really enjoyed it. The changes in the park and in the area are so numerous, it's hard to imagine if people haven't been here long enough to see it. It's just unbelievable. They were still building this park when we moved in, putting units up in the back on the south end of the park.
I'm the Vicki Winslow, and yeah, we came when we were 52, and it was not a 55 park at that time, so you had to be retired, and we had just retired, and his sister was here with her husband, and a guy he worked with. Tell about Hank and Eda.
I used to work with a man named Henry Edwardson, and he came down here. He found about La Casa del Sol, and he came down here, and they were here about 3 years, and he knew I was going to retire. And the words he said one day, he said, "Larry," he said, "you got to come down this place." Wasn't quite what he said, but he said, "This is the darndest place you ever saw."
We were in a choral, and no, we were on the lakeside first in '66, and then Larry says, "Well, let's move to another spot up further because we're the youngest ones here. Leave the ones down lower for the older people."
Wasn't that nice?
That was nice. We moved up there, and now we're the older people, and we're still there, but we have enjoyed it. So we've been in the choral, and then we were called units, and then we had wood sides, and then we had premiums, and now we have cottages. So that's what had happened. And La Casa's address, the establishment, we've had 3 changes of street numbers. So that's been some history there. And we had no cottage lights. Everybody was supposed to keep their outside light on, and then about everybody had flashlights because we couldn't see where to go very well. So then people got up early back then, and they don't nowadays as much. And so I was out doing my walking, and of course the newspapers came early, and we had the USA Today, we had the Ledger, we had the Haines City News Chief, and the Orlando paper, and they were delivered by different trucks that came in. Plus we had the newsstands out here where they could get a newspaper. So that was a big thing. There were 4 of us that went around and found the newspapers under the bushes or under their cars or whatever and put them up by the door. I was not one of them in the beginning. There was Bob Miller and Dick Hefner and Sharon from Michigan. Well, Sharon wasn't feeling good. So she says, "Vicki, would you help me with these newspapers?" And I said, "Well, of course." So I got my flashlight out and then started doing that. And I'm still doing it today, but there's not very many people that get newspapers. And we had a big picnic area where 309 is. I remember 3 grills out there, picnic tables, and a lot of people would just come and have a picnic on Sunday afternoon. And then we had our Michigan days there too. And so then that went away, so we had to readjust on that part. We had no reason to have coffees. We were here without coffees. We would have coffee on the porch. Oh, tell them about the first owners, Jack and Donna.
Jack and Don. No, the owners. Well,
Oh, Tony. Well,
Tony,
Jack and Donna.
I forget his last name, was the owner when we moved into the park. They were really great people. They treated these people that were in the park. Every year he'd put on a spread of picnic and food and drinks and music. And after 3 years or 4 years or whatever, nobody in his family wanted it. He had kids, 3 or 4 boys and girls, and they would come and help. It was just a big family affair, really great. And the managers we had were Jack and Donna. They moved out of the park. They were here about 4 or 5 years probably, and then they moved out of the park.
And they would, Jack would sit out with the workers on the
Every
porch
morning.
and have some coffee.
Coffee and cigarettes.
They were smoking then. Yeah, the park was a smoking park then. And it was just kind of a family because we didn't have things going here and there. Everybody kind of found themselves. And then there was so much noise in cottages because instead of coming to the clubhouse to play games, they would gather in cottages on their porches or outside. And you could hear clanging and yelling and drinking. And
There was something going on every night in these cottages. And another thing, we were just talking about it this morning, up where the shuffleboard courts are up in the back, there never used to be a car.
Oh, yes.
Now there are probably 15 cars up
10
there
or 15.
that's parked there usually about every day.
But we really have enjoyed it here.
Yeah, it's been great.
We wouldn't be in here, this long. So that's been a lot of fun, a lot of memories, and a good experience for us.
And we just decided to move back to Michigan, stay in the cold, but that's what we were used to.
Hi, I'm Sophie Grillo DiMarcantonio. I maintain my maiden name. I've been here 29 years at La Casa del Sol, and I just wanted to briefly tell you how I got to be here. My husband owned a condo in Orlando, and he asked me if I would like to move there. Well, I had never been to Florida, and I thought, so he took, long story short, he took me up. It was a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2 baths, the whole bit. But it was on the 2nd floor, and it was in a residential area. And I thought, no way, I'm retired, I want to have some fun. I'm looking for someplace I could go to enjoy myself. So he suggested La Casa del Sol or Snow White Village, which were owned by the same owner. Snow White Village was a family affair, and I didn't want to be around with children because I had raised my kids. And so decided to, because it said La Casa del Sol, and I understand Italian, it means the house of the sun. Well, I interpreted not S-U-N, but S-O-N, and being a Christian, I thought, oh, that's the place for me to go. So we took a drive down here after making phone calls, took a drive down and took I-4 and got off at the exit 55. And instead of making a left, we made a right. And we had nothing but orange groves for 16 miles. Couldn't find no gas station, nothing to stop. We found a produce place and we got out of the car and asked the gentleman where Davenport is. He looked at us and said, never heard of the place. It's not this way. We're going towards Claremont. Turned around, came back, another 16 miles to I-4 and then 4 more miles from I-4. Nothing but orange groves. The only thing that was there was Baseball City, which was owned by the Royals. And it was named Baseball City. Now it's Posner Park. But to tell you about the changes that I've experienced, it's phenomenal. When we first came, our unit was owned by the workers of Disney. All the Eldorados, there was only a few homes, cottages there. But we had the workers unit, and it was a corrugated unit. They were so well insulated, didn't have air conditioning, didn't have heat. But we booked it, and so that was in 1993-94. And The first 4 years, we stayed in these cottages until they moved these cottages that I have now, that I'm right in now. And we had to choose, you know, there were several openings that we looked at. But nobody wanted this unit because it's number 13. And I was going to take 15 on the corner, which I should have because there's no leaves. But anyway, I didn't. Anyway, the orange groves were beautiful. The traffic was two-way, one north, one south. We now have a 6-lane highway with turnoffs. That's one of the biggest changes. The noise was not what it is today, but it becomes music to your ears, just like the ocean does. It relaxes me. Some of the changes, our church, Pastor Walter has always been our pastor from day one. And we only had a 6-group choir, 1 pianist, and it has grown so much. Now we have like a whole chorus, but changes take place for each and every one of us. And when we had the original, I have been through 5 coordinators who coordinated our activities. And the first one was from Canada, and she developed Hector, who was our mascot. And we've had him all these years. I've been here, I love it. It is the house of the sun, and it is paradise on earth. Thank you.
We first came here in '96 for 1 month. Then we signed up for '97 for a 6-month deal, which would be November to April. From '97 to 2017, I worked and ran bingo. I ran the bingo from about the last 10 years. From '97, we got involved with Give Kids the World. We would go there. I think the first couple of years, we delivered cookies all over the state of Florida. I put on sometimes 60, 70 miles a day delivering cookies for Give Kids the World. Between us, I think we had well over 2,000 hours up until about 2017. Then we just got a little bit too old. Then we slowed down a little bit. As for bingo, like I said, I worked 20 years. The last 10 years, I was in charge of bingo. In the last 10 years, I used to get the coffee ready for the next day. I would get 2 pots of coffee, set them all up so they had coffee ready for Tuesday. But I'm getting a little bit older and older and slowing down.
A funny story that I was just telling somebody here. We always have the parade, and then we have the scavenger hunt. And one of the items Rudy called out was ladies' shoe larger than a 10. Well, lucky Phyllis has an 11 size shoe. So I figured, oh God, the whole park's gonna know my shoe size. After me, he asked if anyone had Viagra with them. And one lady in the park lifted up a little plastic bag with a blue pill. That was a very funny occasion. One day we left the clubhouse, returning to our cottage, and as we were walking up the hill, Rudy stopped in his car and asked us to be chairpersons to the first dance of the year. And normally I would not want to be a chairperson, but I said, how can we say no to Rudy? So we volunteered, and it was an easy job. We were fortunate enough to be king and queen, and that was a fun year. We had the greatest time that year, but it seemed that everything we did, we kept winning prizes. We were so lucky. He won $1,000 in Vegas. And it was the first day we were there, and I'm saying to myself, where am I going to keep this money? So I went around with a little old belly bag with my $1,000 in it for like 4 days. But very lucky as far as my daughter visited with her family, and they had a drawing, and it's my friends won at our table, my kids won at our table, I won at our table. But it was a very, very lucky year, 2000.
We were king and queen in the year 2000.
Yes.
So right now, I'm happy to say we are the longest reigning king and queen of La Casa.
I am the mother queen, queen mother. You're going to change that. I am the queen mother.
I am Mary Longden, and my husband Jack Longden. We came to La Casa in 1997, and we thought we were going to stay here and look around and see where we really wanted to stay in Florida. And it was centrally located, and we thought it would be a good place just to stay. But the people here were so welcoming and so much fun, and there were so many activities that we never even went and looked anywhere else. We just stayed here and played with everybody that we met. Everybody was in a good mood and ready to have fun. The one thing that I found most difficult was the fact that they put us in a choral. The name is pretty, but however, the unit was extremely small. And I usually described it as being that you could sit on the potty and fry the bacon at the same time. That is my biggest memory. When they said that they had a new unit and that we could go and look at it, I was really the first person to be signed up and go over, and they showed it to us and we said, we'll take it. It had enough room that you could be private in the bathroom.
And this is my 25th year with my first husband, and from day one I loved it here. And we had different experiences. My husband wasn't one to get into things, but I did. So, but we've had different times even in our units that we've met so many nice people here, and enjoyed every year that I've been here. It's magic that 25 years have gone by, you know. But things have changed. There's been different units, and this one came from Disney. And it was originally young boys and girls it was for culinary. They would learn how to cook. So when we came here for the first year, in the bedroom they had bunk beds, and I covered it up with pictures. But it's gotten better and better every year, I have to say. And I went through seeing many managers, you know, originally, and Marley was here and her husband, and they worked in the office, and Dolores and Don Maycumber, after my first husband died, they really got me into a lot of stuff at La Casa. And I worked at bingo, and I did half and half, 50-50. And but La Casa has done a lot of changes, and really for the better now, you know. It's really, they're doing a lot to our units on the outside and on the inside. You know, they're really improving things. So, but my husband now, we've been married 12 years, and we actually met before through Bob and Betty Urbanski. She would have afternoon wine and cheese. And she would call Joe, because his wife was always going to and from Philadelphia. So they would call Joe and for, cocktail hour, and they'd call me because I was by myself. So that's how we started. We met, and then after a while his wife died. And so we got together more often. But I always said I'd never get married again, but he talked me into it. We were actually married down here at St. Anne, and Phyllis and Joe Shedlock stood for us. So we have a lot of nice, happy memories here. Even now, things have changed. We're older. Joe's 84 and I'm 86. But life goes on and we're doing what we have to do. But I love La Casa. The people here have been wonderful. And now through this tiring time with Joe, you can't believe how wonderful they have been to me. Somebody comes and takes me to the nursing home, and somebody else comes and picks me up. And meals and just prayers and hugs. Everybody hugs me all the time. It's just a wonderful place to live. I really enjoy it. And I would tell anybody to come here. I have gotten a couple people to come in. But everybody doesn't like Florida, the humidity, but it didn't bother me all summer. You stay in the afternoon and you go anywhere it's air conditioned, But I really like La Casa. I tell everybody, it's like heaven on earth. It really is. It really is.